Hello, everyone. Happy day. Today it's a Wednesday here in beautiful Hawaii, the afternoon, and just wanted to talk about one of the techniques we talk about, and or dive deeper into it. And this technique is called mystical journaling, and it's a really beautiful technique. It's something that I discovered living in an ashram, and when I lived at the ashram, I began to have these very mystical experiences, and I wanted to have some documentation about them and being able to help integrate them. At the time, I hadn't worked with medicine on any level. Actually, I had, but it was just the beginning of it, and so I was trying to structure a way to, have understanding around these incredible mystical experiences I was experiencing, and really finding a way to integrate them in the process. And so that combined with assisting multiple teachers with different types of ceremonial medicines, this mystical or majestic, I call it mystical, but majestic journaling really came forth. And so we've talked before in the Diamond Heart Project around doing things like morning pages, journaling of what's coming up for you. It's really beautiful to journal like after your meditation and really begin to log with the emotions you're feeling, what's coming up for you, and just help getting your thoughts out. Plus, there's a beautiful connection between you and writing on a piece of paper that is not really necessarily present when you're doing this, when you're typing information. I prefer to write information down or to voice text information as it comes through on the level of journaling or integrating. And so you can do however you want, but this mystical journaling is not compared to the process of like maybe you're doing your daily pages or your morning pages that is suggested at different times of this process of the Diamond Heart Project. This is more for mystical experiences. Like maybe you're in meditation and your grandmother comes to you who's passed 10 years ago and delivers a message. Maybe the fact that when the core of our being is made of light and sound, so maybe the fact that in your meditation or in your yoga practice, this has happened all different times in my life, whether it be in a yoga class, a meditation, like running on the beach, like riding the bike, like wherever it is, this information can come at any given moment whenever it's your destined time to receive it, which is really beautiful. And it comes to you when you're in the most open space. Sometimes it comes to me when I'm dancing and singing running down the road. So the point is it can come anytime. It doesn't have to be in meditation, but they come in all different ways. And so the core of your being is light and sound. So you might have a vision, might have some different shapes you've never seen before, colors come to you and might show themselves for 30 seconds and all of a sudden they disappear. But know, like in that 30 seconds, you were given like libraries of information about your life. And for some context of understanding, these are moments where you begin to connect to higher dimensional states of who you are. Maybe your fifth dimensional self, ninth dimensional self, 12th dimensional self, and that information comes through. And so think about it on some kind of analogy as if, you were a third grader and all of a sudden you could access your ninth grade self. And your ninth grade self knows how to do math. So maybe you're tripped up on this equation or division or multiplication problem you're doing of your homework as a third grader, but all of a sudden you just have a moment of connection to your ninth grade self and who's already learning algebra. And all of a sudden the clarity just comes through in that moment to help you figure out this process you're working on. And so these are just different examples of how this information can show up. Maybe you get an aha moment, maybe you have an epiphany, maybe you have extreme clarity for a moment about your life and who you are and why you're here. Maybe you get a picture in your mind of your partner that you haven't met yet, and all of a sudden 3 days later you meet that person. Maybe in a dream, a loved one comes and talks to you and gives you this beautiful message or download about your life. Or you see a vision of something and then 3 days later that exact experience happened in your dream. This stuff happens all the time. And so this journaling process can help you integrate it, because know that no matter what the experience was, that information that you received is not in your cognitive mind. It is in your field of influence. So it's in your emotional body, mental body, energetic body, physical body. It's in your bodies And even though you might not have some memory of it in the cognitive way, this is a way to bring it forth, and the clarity and the reasoning and what you're supposed to receive around that experience. So this is when we activate the mystical journaling. So how this looks is when you journal in this specific modality of mystical journaling, you only journal for 5 minutes. Again, you set the timer, you only sit down and journal for 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, you get up and you walk away. Whether you come back an hour later, a day later, a week later, a month later, it's fully up to you. Sometimes it takes me a month to journal, maybe a medicine ceremony, because there's so much information that comes through in that 5 minutes. And so because whether you know it or not, you receive this incredible library of information about your life at some moment or some topic of your life. And you can't just all process that in an afternoon. And so you get these 5-minute windows of like calling the information forth. And when you begin to write the information down in the journal, what you do is you begin to write chronological order of events that you remember. And so you just start writing, like, showed up at the house, or running on the beach. There was a dog barking next to me. Wah, 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 wah. How to text my friend Joe. Whatever it is you just go back as far as you think you need to go back and begin to write the chronological order of events that led up to that moment. And again, when the timer hits 5 minutes, you put the pen or pencil down and you walk away. As you get through the mystical experience or post-experience as you write or before it, you'll begin to notice that your hand will begin to do something called channel writing, or you'll begin to write events or images or memories of that experience that you have no cognitive memory of. Whether it was a flash of your grandfather for a moment, or your dad walked up and said hi to you, but it happened so fast that your mind didn't catch it, but your soul did. And so you just begin to write this information. You begin to notice that your hand will begin to write information that your brain is not telling it to write. It's coming from the information of the soul, because either way, the information is in your field of influence. And there's something beyond your brain that controls everything that you do. And so you begin to write this information. And whether it takes you a couple weeks, a day, a month, whatever it is that when you feel that experience is fully written or journaled into your journal, you will have clarity around what it was, or you have more understanding or reasoning as far as what that experience was about. So again, this is what we use for mystical experiences only. I have a journal that I use only for mystical experiences, and there's multiple of them over the course of a couple decades. So please know that that's there, and here's an option for helping you in this transition of this beautiful essence of your true self, and you stepping into your full capacity and alignment of your being. And I'm blessing you on your journey, and so glad to support you in your way. So blessings to your life. Mahalo.